Welcome in Wyoming. Coming up today, a recall on 2 million air fryers and how there's $21 billion in unspent gift cards. Plus, how a middle school teacher becomes a hero. All that and more. Let's go.
Wyoming News Now starts now.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Layla Martinez. We'll get to all of those stories in just a bit, but first we'll check in with Austin Feig for a look at our weather forecast. Meals on Wheels of Cheyenne is hosting a series of events in celebration of 2023 March for Meals. This March, Meals on Wheels programs from across the country are joining forces to celebrate more than 50 years of success. Mayor Patrick Collins will sign a proclamation on March 6th at 3 p.m. declaring March 2023 as the 21st annual March for Meals month. Community champions will take place through the month of March every day from 8:30 a.m. to 11 o'clock a.m. Laramie County Ice Bowl will be held March 18th from 10:15 to 11:30 a.m. For the full list of events and more details, visit our website. The Wyoming State Geological Survey published a report and maps of the Laramie Mountains, offering new data used for assessing mineral resources in Wyoming. The goal of these scans, also known as an Earth MRI, is to identify areas that have potential to contain critical mineral resources. The Laramie Mountains have the potential for deposits of copper, nickel, gold, silver, and more. All right, that's all for now. Don't go anywhere. Your forecast and a glimpse into why your air fryers could be getting recalled. All that and more up next. Despite higher prices, endless talk of possible recession, and falling markets, 401k participants managed to keep their savings rates relatively steady in the fourth quarter of last year. That's according to new data from Fidelity Investments, one of the largest providers of workplace retirement plans. Experts from Fidelity say the average 401k savings rate included both employee contributions and employee matches, held roughly steady at 13.7% in the fourth quarter, down from 13.8% seen in the third quarter. Among generations in the workforce, baby boomers had the highest saving rates as a percent of their income at 16.5%. The youngest group, Gen Z workers, saved 10.2%. The average 401k balance in Fidelity administered plans meanwhile rose 7% from the third quarter. That said, thanks to poor performances in both stocks and bonds last year, the average is still 23% below the average 401k balance of $135,600 recorded at the end of 2021. 2 million air fryers are being recalled over fire and burn risks. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission is telling people to immediately stop using Cosori brand air fryers. The agency says it has received more than 200 incident reports about the fryers burning, melting, overheating, and smoking. That includes 10 reports of minor skin burns. The company says the hazard is a result of overheating electrical connectors. The air fryers were sold between 2018 and through last December at a number of retailers, including Amazon, Best Buy, Home Depot, Costco, and Target. For more information on how to get a replacement, head to Cosori.com. Have some unused gift cards still laying around from Christmas? Apparently, you aren't the only one. According to a new survey of more than 1,200 Americans, nearly 2/3 have at least one unspent gift card. The survey from online financial advisor services provider Credit Summit found at least half of those surveyed admitted losing a gift card before they used it. A majority of survey respondents said their unredeemed gift cards were worth $200 or less. Credit Summit reports there is as much as $21 billion worth of unused or lost gift cards. Gift cards don't expire at least 5 years from the date it was activated, according to federal law. If you have unused or unwanted gift cards, there are several websites on which you can sell, trade, or donate them. It's no surprise that getting at least 7 or 8 hours of sleep is good for you, but not getting enough could lead to health problems, especially with your heart. About 10 to 15% of Americans struggle with insomnia. According to a meta-analysis of previously published work, those people are more likely to have a heart attack than those without the sleeping disorder. Heart attack numbers were still relatively low between both groups studied. Duration of sleep played a factor. Researchers found those who slept less than 5 hours or more than 9 hours were at greater risk of a heart attack. They say the central issue here is blood pressure. People with sleep problems tend to have elevated blood pressure at night. To improve sleep, the CDC recommends a consistent sleep schedule, a quiet dark room, and no electronics before bedtime. They also urge people to stay active during the day and avoid large meals, caffeine, and alcohol before bed. Former President Jimmy Carter remains in hospice care, choosing to spend his remaining days at home with his family. But the 98-year-old will leave behind a legacy filled with service to those in need. And it includes helping to nearly eradicate a parasitic disease that plagues some of the poorest countries in the world. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on guinea worm disease and where the world stands in the fight against it.
It's a parasitic disease that barely exists anymore, thanks in part to work done by this former president.
We were driving along and at elementary school, children had a big sign that says, "Watch out, guinea worm, here comes Jimmy Carter." That was almost as good as a Nobel Prize for me.
In the 1980s, Carter decided to lead the effort to rid the world of guinea worm, which at the time infected about 3.5 million people. As of 2022, there are 13 cases, according to preliminary totals from the Carter Center. Guinea worm disease is caused by a parasite which infects humans and animals when they drink unfiltered water contaminated with microscopic water fleas. People infected have no symptoms for about a year, then begin to feel sick with a slight fever, itchy rash, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and dizziness. Then a painful blister develops and the worm breaks through the skin, which comes with a host of other health complications. While the death rate is low, disability is common.
The fact that we know where the disease exists now, we know what medicines or treatment can be effective, and we can actually prove how many still are there that have this problem, and we can prove what causes success. And that proof, I think, makes it much more likely that the effort will continue after I'm no longer president.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
In addition to raising money and awareness about guinea worm disease, the Carter Center set up a village-based surveillance, educated the public about how the parasite spreads, distributed larvicides, helped provide support for the creation of clean new wells, and handed out cloth-based water filters to those in need. The COVID-19 pandemic brought setbacks in many areas of life, including our health. Millions of Americans missed routine cancer screenings during the second year of the pandemic. With the prevalence of screening for breast, cervical, and prostate cancers in the previous years falling anywhere from 6 to 15% between 2019 and 2021. That's according to a study from the American Cancer Society. But a separate research study suggests people are starting to return to screening rates seen before the pandemic. Data published last week in the journal Epic Research found rates of screening for breast, cervical, and colon cancers may have returned to normal. Doctors say anyone who's missed a routine cancer screening during the pandemic should catch up now. Astronomers have spotted something surprising outside of our solar system. It's what they are calling a forbidden planet due to its unexpected size. NASA's Transiting Exoplanet Survey satellite made the discovery. Researchers say the planet is about the size of Jupiter and it's about 280 light years away from Earth. They say it is extraordinary to find such a large planet orbiting a smaller star, and the discovery challenges theories about how planets are formed. Scientists now plan on observing the planet using NASA's premier James Webb Space Telescope. You can read more about the research behind the forbidden planet in the latest edition of the Astronomical Journal. The St. Louis Zoo has an escape artist on their hands. An Andean bear named Ben broke out of his outdoor habitat Thursday. Guests and staff were taken into indoor facilities for some 50 minutes until he was secured. The zoo says this is Ben's second escape this month. The first time he meddled with the steel mesh of his outdoor habitat, causing the cable to give way. Additional security was then added to the enclosure, but that didn't stop the young and adventurous 4-year-old. The zoo says it is now looking into alternative ways to secure that habitat. A big bang for a truck versus train and a storm cleanup becomes a star-studded event for one cop. Coming up in today's Take a Look at This.
Crazy video from New York shows a freight train ripping through a cargo truck stuck on the tracks. Police say the terrifying impact happened just seconds after an officer got the driver to get out, saying he didn't even know the train was coming.
The driver of the tractor trailer, who was inside the cab at the time on his phone, he didn't realize that the train was coming. Our sergeant was able to notify him, get him out of the cab of the truck in time.
Police say the truck was carrying titanium piping and became stuck on the tracks after the driver made a wrong turn. The railroad crossing was closed temporarily for cleanup, but no one was injured thanks to a cop's quick actions and a little bit of luck.
Another excellent job done by our guys. Right place at the right time.
Talk about lucky. A pair of robbery suspects should thank their lucky stars. They were fleeing police when they just missed the speeding train, Dukes of Hazzard style. The blink and you'll miss it moment was captured on police dash cam, and the chase ended with the suspects fleeing on foot. One of them was found in a tree. Speaking of trees, a severe weather mess in Michigan turned into a star-studded storm cleanup when a Good Samaritan stopping to help turned out to be none other than University of Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh. The legendary UM coach helped move some downed limbs, clearing a lane, and the officer was quick to thank Harbaugh for the helping hand.
You're a good man. Hey, feel free to spread the word on that.
For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Ross.